Hey everyone, I'm Brent Barnett with Gibraltar Hardware, and welcome to another episode of Brent's Hang. Today we're going to talk about a couple issues that every drummer experiences throughout their career, and that's the issue of space and volume. Now, drums are very loud and they take up a lot of space, and not every gig is going to allow you the space nor the ceiling room for noise and volume to use a full drum set. So a lot of the time, drummers will use percussion instruments to replace the drum kit. Let's see if we can adapt this to a way that you can actually play drum set on it. This is the Gibraltar Cajon pedal. This pedal allows a drummer to play a cajon like a drum set in areas where it's too loud to actually use a drum set. I'm here with Garman, drummer for Selena Gomez, and we're talking the cajon pedal. Greg, so can you talk a little bit about how you got into playing cajon?
Oh, sure. When I first learned how to play the cajon, it was almost a necessity for the gigs that I was already on because they wanted to incorporate an acoustic, segment in the show or do a whole acoustic show. So, I had to take all the drum beats that I was playing on the kit and learn them, on one instrument and learn how to make it full and well-rounded and musical.
Give me an example of kind of what you would do, like if you would take a song that's on a record and then transpose it to like playing it just.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Cajon.
So so most of the songs I already had to kind of do like that. They would be like pop songs, and that's kind of like what I would need to play for the music I was playing. So most of those songs would require like a 4/4 beat, playing like the bass tone on the right hand, and then you go bringing the backbeat. But that's kind of all you can go, like all where you can go with it. You might be able to open it up a little bit, but that's about it. But now that there's the cajon pedal, it enables me to add other elements to a basic beat like a 4/4 beat. So now I can take that same beat and go, make it more lively, and then still bring it down to, so it allows you to take it more places than just, one thing.
So you're able to add like an extra element
Oh,
sound
yeah.
into your playing.
Definitely.
That's really cool.
I can add other sounds in playing, and I can even play the whole cajon setup as a drum kit. So, I learned to recreate the beats from the whole drum kit to just the cajon. But now, since there's a cajon pedal, you can actually use it as a substitute kick drum. So you can have a hi-hat, little snare, or even just hi-hat, and play this as your snare. So it's kind of like really widen the possibilities for the whole acoustic setup.
So let's hear you jam on it a little bit.
Let's do it. So with the cajon pedal, you don't always have to stay hands to the cajon. You could kind of incorporate it as like a bass substitute, so you can have sticks, shaker, everything. So I'll do a little demo with all that kind of stuff. That's great. What? If you got the one shot, that's another hi-hat. That was cool, like with this thing.
So you were doing some cool little double bass thingy stuff there.
Oh yeah, the secret behind like the whole double kick sound, because I'm only using one kick obviously, but getting the low tones with my hand here, the secret behind that is to make everything linear. And for those who don't know what the linear approach is, it's basically nothing lines up, like no two limbs are gonna line up at the same time. So as long as everything's separate, then you can make that like double kick effect. Because if you hit both bass tones at the same time, it'll be like if you hit a snare with the sticks at the same time, like not flam style, but the
Cancel
same.
each other out.
Yeah, so it'd eliminate it. So you got to make sure that there's space in between, so you can play. Just have that linear approach. It doesn't matter if it's singles, doubles, paradiddles. It can be anything, just as long as they don't line up.
You literally just did created 10 different sounds with just a few items. You know how it's great because in Latin music when you're playing drum kit, you're basically emulating all the percussion sounds. Now what you're doing is you're emulating all the drum sounds just on an acoustic level.
Yeah.
And like you even did some stuff with shakers and stuff that you can't do on a drum kit.
No, I mean it wouldn't really translate because the drums are louder than the shaker instruments and everything. So incorporating that all in acoustic setup is pretty cool. And kind of the idea behind the whole acoustic setup anyway is like kind of like a minimalist approach because like when you roll up to the gig, you only want to roll up with like maybe a couple bags or something. If you're not playing kit, otherwise you might as well bring your kit. So this is like a great way to get the most sound out of the fewest things possible. The hi-hat alone, there's millions of sounds you can get out of it. The cajon, you can get hand sounds. There's new elements with the pedal. And then having some kind of auxiliary percussion right here. There's really no limits, and your creativity or imagination is your own limitation when it comes to this whole setup right here.
You just literally went from being a percussionist right there to a drummer on a percussion setup.
Oh yeah. It all started with the cajon just on its own, and kind of built off of that. But the cajon pedal has really made it possible to even add these elements to the whole setup. So that's a drumming innovation right there. Yeah.
It's really cool because he was talking about space, drummers needing to carry as little amount of stuff as they can to get to a gig. And there's a lot of coffee shop gigs that people play where they have very small space so they can't play loud. Mm-hmm. So this is actually this is perfect for it.
Like you said, small clubs, they'll say, bring like a condensed drum kit or a small drum kit. What they're basically saying is they don't want drums, but it's like if it's absolutely necessary, bring the fewest items that you can. So it's almost like don't even bring a drum kit, like bring this stuff, and then you'll have like more than you would have really with a kick and snare anyway. You wouldn't have necessarily more, but it's like something completely different, but it brings a whole new vibe to whatever setting you're in. Really no limitations. The cool thing is it's a relatively new instrument. Like not every drummer owns a cajon, which I think they should, because they're missing out on a lot of work and just a lot of fun too. And with this innovation with the pedal, it just opens up, like I said, you can have other facets to your acoustic setup and still have the foundation of the kick drum and snare elements. So this is I'm totally stoked on what Gibraltar's doing with innovating the whole drum player concept.
All right, so that's all the time we have for this week. Make sure you go down to your Gibraltar dealer and check out the pedal. It's pretty badass. As always, make sure you subscribe because we have new videos coming out every week, and we want you to be able to receive them as soon as they're released. And also, leave us a comment below and let us know the situations that you've been in where you haven't been able to use a drum kit because of space and volume.